Hi everybody, this will hopefully be a quick lesson about a very basic concept which I want to get to before I get to more complex concepts later. Other people have probably done similar videos for touch guitar about diatonic harmony, but I want everybody to understand how I see it and to try to make it as simple as possible. I absolutely love the fourths tuning that's found on the guitar side of most tap guitars. It makes a very nice geometrical pattern when you picture scales, arpeggios, and chords. And I find it much easier to visualize than the 6-string guitar tuning because of that major third between the second and third strings. And that's what I'd like to talk about. And I'm going to break convention a little bit and use the key of A instead of the key of C. I hope that's convenient for people who have inverted fifths in their bass. Let me know if it's not, and I can change keys in the future if I do this kind of thing. And we're going to start at ground zero with an A in my root on the bass side, and an A triad in its root position from the bottom up. That would be A, C sharp, and E. And this we'll call position 1. This is the first degree of our scale. Now let's make this really easy and skip a couple of steps and introduce you immediately to the 4th and 5th degrees of the scale because they're at the same fret positions. If I move my hands together up to the higher set of strings on my guitar side, and even if you're inverted fifths on the bass, move your hand in the same direction and you should end up on what would be the 4th degree of the scale, the 4 chord. In this case, a D chord. D major, back to A major. So here we are, 1, 4. Now if we do the reverse and we move everything down a string on the guitar side and follow with our bass hand, we have what's the 5th degree of the scale, the 5 chord. So immediately we've got 1, 4, 5. And by the rule of octaves in fourths, if we move our 5 chord up 2 frets and up 2 strings, we're an octave above. So now we have this nice shape of 5, 4, and 1. So we've got 1, 4, and if we move the 4 chord up 2 frets, we've got 5. We're already halfway through. I only want to talk about the first 6 degrees of a diatonic major scale today. Now let's go to the second position. If we move 1 up 2 frets and then drop the middle note here down 1 fret, we have a minor chord, and this is the 2nd degree of an A diatonic major scale. All right, we've got 1, 2. And if I move that up 2 frets, we've got the 3 chord, the 3rd degree of the scale, our C sharp minor chord, back to a B minor, A major, B minor, C sharp minor, our 3rd degree of the scale, and then if we move everything up 1 group of strings like we did with the 1 to the 4 progression, we have our 6th degree of the scale. Let me see, in this case that's an F sharp minor chord. And they make this nice geometrical pattern where we have 2, 3, and 6. So we've got 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, 6. And there we are. We have our first 6 degrees of an A diatonic major scale. All right, I'm going to go back to position 1, our first degree of the scale, and we're going to talk about inversions. We can make an octave by going up 2 frets and 2 strings. So I have an octave above my A here. But we can also make an octave by going down 3 frets and up 3 strings. So I have my A major chord here. If I take this A and move it up here, that is our first inversion of the A major chord. So inversion 1, we've got this and this. Now I'm going to reverse that process, and I'm going to take the highest note of my A triad, the E. I'm going to take it down an octave, down 3 strings and up 3 frets. We can drop it, and now it looks like this. This is our second inversion. This has the third on top, the C sharp, whereas our other one had the root on top, the first inversion that we had, whereas it was on the bottom in its root position. In the first inversion, it went with the root on top, and then when we went to the second inversion, we put the root in the middle. And then if we do that again to this inversion, we're back to our first inversion. It's important that you know all of these inversions. What happens when we do that to our minor chord? Let's go up to our B minor. We're going to take this note up an octave this way, just like it was in the first one, but now, because it's a minor chord, it looks like this. And when we take it down, we end up with that. And then again, if we do it again, we have all right, so we can do this to all of these chords. This will become very important later. You need to know all of the inversions of all of these chords. It's also helpful to know what we discovered earlier, that we make this A chord a minor chord simply by moving this middle note down. So it's important to see how that works in the inversions. We have our A major here. Now the bottom note goes down, and we have this inversion here. The top note goes down. That's how we make minor chords. We take that third and we take it down 1 fret. Of course, this is a very basic concept, but it's important. For example, say somebody tells you that a song has a 1-5-4-5 progression, so you know that it's going to go 5, 4, 5, 1, 5, 4, 5. Or often in jazz and other forms of music, we have 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. So now we've got 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. So all you have to know is the key you're in and what is the chord progression. Maybe it's 1, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 4, 5. So as a recap, you should be familiar with the 3 different inversions for each triad. Root position, first inversion, second inversion. For example, I could use the second inversion position that I had for my A. And then if I go up a whole step in the bass to my second degree, the minor chord looks like this. Third degree will be the same chord up 2 frets. Then I got to come back a fourth above my A to play the 4th degree of the scale, and then the 5th degree is 2 frets above that, and then the 6th degree is 2 frets above that, but with the 3rd made into a minor. I'm sure it would be the upper inversion. When we're playing our A chord, we have doubled the root twice. We've got the root here in our bass hand, but we've also got it here in our guitar hand. So what if I drop that down a half step and make a major 7 chord? And do the same thing for each chord along the way. The second degree would be a minor 7th. Third degree, also a minor 7th. 4th degree would be a major 7th chord. 5th degree is fun. We have a dominant 7th. There are only dominant 7th in the scale. And then the 6th degree is a minor 7th. So it has the same chord form as the other 2 minor chords. Whereas we only get 2 major 7th chords here. We get our 1 and our 4. And then the 5 chord is its own unique thing related to the 7th degree of the scale, but we'll get to that later. 1, 4, 5, 4, 1 with 7th. So now you have to figure out all of those inversions. Move things up by an octave. That's where things get interesting. And say, okay, we've talked about making a chord scale, inversions. Let's at least look at the 7th degree chord. In a diatonic major scale, the 7th degree is a half step below the root. That's where we're going to go on the root. We can mirror that here, but if I go down scalar-wise, we get this form. That's interesting. We haven't encountered that yet. This is a diminished chord. Now, your assignment, should you care to take it, is that you are going to find the other 2 inversions for this chord. We're going to take this note up an octave, and we're going to take this note down an octave to find our 2 different inversions. And hopefully later I'll have a whole lesson about this 7th degree chord, because it opens up a whole different world by the fact that it's a diminished chord. It has a relationship to the 5th degree of the scale, which is what resolves back to the 1st degree of the scale. Those secrets and mysteries are for later. All right. Thank you for watching. Buffering, buffering, buffering.